Welcome to a new edition of Echo Africa, the weekly environment show co-produced by NTV in Uganda, Channels TV in Nigeria and DW in Germany. I am Chris Alems here in Lagos. Later, we'll be taking you on a bike tour of Cairo. But first, let me welcome my co-host, Sandra in Uganda.
Hello from Kampala, I am Sandra Twinovio, and yes, today we're going to be celebrating the humble bicycle and its contribution to climate protection, also coming up on the show. We meet an entrepreneur who's producing stylish and sustainable packaging. We find out how solar energy is transforming rural communities in Mali. And we visit an artist in the Democratic Republic of Congo who makes huge portraits out of plastic waste. Now, many large cities in Africa have problems with constantly increasing road traffic and its consequences. Megacities in particular, like Cairo, are completely strained as anyone who's been stuck in one of its traffic jams knows. But that could change as activists venture into traffic and fight to make cycling easier in the Egyptian capital. We went along for a ride.
It's an ordinary weekday in Cairo. Heba Atia Musa is riding to work on her bicycle. It's rare to find people here in Cairo commuting by bike, and even more rare to see a woman out cycling. But as an urban planner working to turn Cairo into a bike-friendly city, Musa finds it normal to cycle each day, although at times it takes a little courage. She's seeing firsthand what improvements need to be made.
I usually ride on the right-hand side of the street. That's where you get all the dust and garbage in the gutters, and the road is often damaged. People in cars don't expect to see bikers, and when drivers swerve too close to me, it can be dangerous.
The streets are laden with obstacles of all kinds. The Cairo metropolitan area is the largest in Africa, with a population of over 21 million. Vehicles and pedestrians all compete for space. The Egyptian authorities have gone to great effort to build bridges and widen highways. In recent years, they've built a 7,000-kilometer-long road network across the country. Since the start of the pandemic, there's been a slight increase in the number of cyclists in the Egyptian capital. At this bicycle shop in downtown Cairo, Mohammed Yusri has noticed more people are wanting to buy bikes now.
Public transportation is very crowded, and during the pandemic, some people have been afraid that if they take it, they might catch the virus. So they're looking for a bike to ride instead. Also, the volume of traffic and congestion in the city has caused people to realize that bicycles are actually a good way of getting around.
But things will need to change if cycling is to gain wider appeal. Tabdil, where Heba Musa works, is one of several initiatives looking to do that. The startup was created in 2018 by 4 urban planners. Set up with private donations, their work is now funded by the Arab Council for Social Sciences. Tabdil seeks to make cycling more viable. It also gathers data on the existing and projected number of cyclists, their commuting routes, and factors affecting their decision to hop on a bike. At the United Nations Habitat Office in Cairo, research is also being done into ways to improve the city's infrastructure for cyclists and other road users.
We want to have cycle paths in the city centre and also bike sharing. This will require changes in the layout of the streets. If 70% of travel is done either on foot, by bike or by public transport, then 70% of the street needs to be dedicated to those modes of transport.
UN Habitat says public transport is used for 55% of all journeys in Cairo, while cycling and walking account for 13%. Cycling groups are now popping up in different parts of the city. Like Go Bike, created by keen cyclist Mohamed Sami, He got the idea while living in Europe, where he noticed some people using bicycles as their main mode of transport.
We are encouraging people to get cycling because we want to reduce the number of cars, taxis, and buses on the roads. For someone traveling a short distance of 5 to 6 kilometers, let's say to the supermarket, or visiting friends, they could go by bike, which would be a better option. And it would help reduce the congestion that we all dread so much.
The Go Bike group meets every Friday morning in a different part of Cairo. Spare bikes are available for those who haven't got one. Everybody is welcome to join in.
It's a great idea and it's well organised. This is the main reason I decided to join. I tried once before and this is my second time.
On this day, approximately 30 riders are covering a distance of over 12 kilometers on Cairo roads. Most of the riders are women, making it quite an eye-opener for many in the city and highlighting how cycling can be an activity for anyone.
If we had proper infrastructure and a cycle path that kept me away from the cars and all the obstacles, it would be so much better. It would really improve my daily ride to work. And I'd like people to get used to seeing cyclists, and women cyclists too. Bikes are not just for men.
A start has been made, but it's clear there's still a long road ahead.
Wow, amazing. Let us hope that more and more people start using bikes to get around. But now, let's switch gears. We've reported extensively on problems with garbage disposal and plastic waste.
That's right, it's everywhere. And most of it isn't biodegradable. So one way of dealing with it is to collect and recycle it. In the latest of our Doing Your Bit series, we meet someone who's found a very creative way of tackling trash and turning it into something colorful.
Congolese artist Frank Ngongo specializes in portraits. But instead of using paint and brushes, he creates his work from plastic bags recovered from garbage heaps. And he finds plenty where he lives on the outskirts of Kinshasa. Waste management in the capital city is virtually non-existent.
I said to myself, I'll turn the dirty plastic bags littering our city into artworks that are valued. It's a message to others to find better ways to dispose of trash.
He collects plastic waste from this landfill site, then washes it and hangs it in the sun to dry. After a preliminary sketch, he then uses the plastic to fill in the finished artwork. He can usually complete one work in just a few hours. This is a portrait of the late Tanzanian president John Magufuli. Frank Ngongo has completed a number of portraits of famous figures. His work generates a lot of interest. Better known by his moniker Aroba Design, some works sell for up to $400. His dream is to go abroad and study art.
And how about you? If you're also doing your bit, tell us about it. Visit our website or send us a tweet. #DoingYourBit. We share your stories.
Recycling plastic is one solution, but think how much better off the environment would be if we avoided it in the first place. At least one entrepreneur in Berlin thought so and set up her own plastic-free packaging business based on strict ethical and environmental principles. She and other local business owners are showing it's possible to be sustainable and stylish.
Rolls and rolls of patterned material. Christina Zawa and her husband are selecting the most suitable to use for their next batch of beeswax wraps.
We use organic cotton coated with a layer of beeswax, tree resin and jojoba oil. The three components together are what we paint onto the material. The mixture is the secret behind the wraps. And the great thing is that beeswax cloth allows food to breathe at the same time as keeping it moist. Condensation doesn't develop. And that's basically why plastic-wrapped food often goes mouldy.
The mother of two developed her prototypes 3 years ago in her own kitchen with lots of wax and an iron. She'd come across beeswax cloth while she was studying to be a graphics designer in the US.
Since we were always using so much plastic cling film, which can't be recycled, I thought, OK, beeswax cloth is a great alternative, but I want to know what it's made of and I want to use raw materials from Europe. That's how I started making it in my kitchen.
There's a lot of manual work involved. The high level of wax in the mixture means the cloths stick together once they're made. They have to be separated by hand. Christina Zawa insists on manufacturing in Berlin and pays her employees fairly. So 2 beeswax cloths are quite expensive at 10 euros, but they can be reused for up to a year. Christina's business idea has created 20 jobs here.
There are plenty of women who want to go out and profit's the most important thing to them. But by and large, and the GEM data really speaks very directly to this idea that when it comes to prioritizing social goals, environmental goals, and economic goals, men tend to prioritize economic goals over other goals. Women tend to prioritize social goals over other goals. Part of women's entrepreneurship right now is entrepreneurship in general is seeing the emergence of what we call impact investing and, social entrepreneurship.
It can be a long slog before a female entrepreneur can live off her profits. In Berlin's Mitte district, the Weiber Wirtschaft Female Entrepreneur Center helps women who want to become self-employed. It offers support in developing a business plan, brokering microcredits. There's even a daycare center. It's this support that the more than 70 members value about this cooperative treasure and also need.
First of all, it's far harder for a woman to set up in business. There's a systemic disadvantaging of women. Here in Germany, they're supposed to take on the nurturing work, meaning they do much more work in the family and they earn less than men. That raises the hurdles for setting up a business. Women tend to found service companies rather than tech companies, and it's hard for them to find commercial space, which also needs to be close to home so that they can also take care of the family.
Damit sie irgendwie auch noch schaffen, ihre Familienarbeit zu leisten.
The rents in the cooperative are well below average, something fashion designer Karin Jordan benefits from. She's been producing her own fashion collections for 10 years. Her materials are all organic, made in weaving mills in Germany, Austria, and elsewhere in Europe. She wants to take a stand against the fast turnover, cheap textiles industry.
What we buy today is definitely too cheap. Basically, you shouldn't be able to sell clothing at those prices, because I know what the costs here are like. Even if we consider economies of scale, what's on offer here is still too cheap. That devalues the garments, along with the people who make them. We simply can't do that to each other.
Ethically made, high-value clothes have their price. A dress here costs 600 euros, a top 170. Karin says the priority for her customers used to be being well-dressed. Now, many have a keen interest in where the clothes are made. Christina Zawa also found customers quickly. Her beeswax wraps are now sold in 8,000 shops across Europe. The annual turnover is a 7-figure sum. But she doesn't want to export to Asia, Africa, or the US.
I wanted to make a sustainable product right from the start, because I said to myself, we have these raw materials in Europe. If we shipped them overseas, the CO2 emissions would be catastrophic.
But she can imagine setting up production abroad. using locally sourced raw materials and a local office for the local market.
We head back to Africa for our next report. Did you know that only 50% of the population in Rwanda has access to clean water? We went to the country to visit an entrepreneur running a project that's aiming to remedy the situation while also creating jobs.
The Nyabarongo, Rwanda's longest river, provides water to many communities along its banks. Here in Kagoma, nearly 1,000 people fetch water from the river daily. But the brown water isn't safe to drink. Christelle Kwizere does not want to tolerate that. In 2011, she went to the US and got a degree in mechanical engineering. When she returned home, she started a company called Water Access Rwanda.
In the US, the water was very reliable, no outages. And so when I returned to Rwanda, I was like, why don't we have reliable water? When I started the company, I was motivated by addressing two needs, the need for clean water and the need for employment. So I sought to create employment for young people within the water sector.
To bring clean water to this community, she hires young technicians to drill for water from nearby lakes and then channel it to a distribution point. Christelle aims to give jobs to unemployed university graduates. Since founding her company in 2014, she has won multiple awards for her work. This recognition has given her young company a useful boost.
So award funding has been great for us, as I'm so glad that as a female-led young company, we've been able to get so much recognition and some with cash awards. It really helps us we've been able to buy IT equipment for the team, get nice computers for everybody. We've been able to buy a car, build a storage facility and other facilities for the team.
Water Access Rwanda hopes to reach all 30 districts in Rwanda by 2022. A single water kiosk can supply a community of 2,000 and at a much cheaper price compared to other water sellers. But Christelle still makes sure no one is left behind. For communities that can't afford to pay their water bills, Christelle uses her business skills to negotiate with other companies to pay on the community's behalf. 24-year-old management graduate Claudette is part of the Water Access Rwanda team. For 4 years, she was unemployed. After being invited to one of Christelle's workshops, she joined the company. This opportunity changed her life.
Like many others, I didn't have a job. I had to ask my parents for everything because I was broke. Today, things have changed, and now I can support my family, like paying school fees for my brothers and sisters. I'm happy with this job.
Christelle's project is clearly having a positive impact here. But this ambitious businesswoman won't stop with Rwanda.
There is currently 450 million sub-Saharan Africans who don't have access to clean drinking water. Once every last one of them has access to piped clean water in their homes, not having to walk outside of their homes to access it, then I can say I'm done.
It's a long way to go, but she is adamant to achieve her goal.
Two children, two continents, one giant problem.
In mijn leven heb ik nog net gezien een beetje rien.
How will climate change affect us and our children? Learn more at dw.com/water.
Now from water to the sun, a good resource that is often underutilized, which is alarming because it has so many possible uses, especially here in Africa.
Yes, for example, in Mali, there is a tiny local commercial park that has converted to using solar power. It is a big idea implemented on a small scale that can be a role model for many other communities and can make a big difference. Is it for business or for the environment? Let's take a look.
These young people are acquiring skills that will open doors to new opportunities. Here in this tailor's workshop in the town of Kore, they're learning how to make clothes professionally. Kasim Ngongo is teaching them how to sew traditional garments like bubus and wrappers.
I set up this workshop to teach young people to sew. The shortage of options here meant they had to go elsewhere to learn skills. The business centre allows them to learn trades right here.
Solar energy made this possible. It supplies Ngongo's tailor shop with electricity, as well as the other establishments in this small business area built by an international development NGO. Its aim is to improve living conditions and fight against climate change and its impacts. That includes helping people in rural areas to develop skills and find ways to earn a living right where they are.
Being part of the centre and having access to electricity at an affordable price means a lot more is possible.
His energy bill is around €15 a month. That even covers offering vocational opportunities to 30 young Malians. This green business area in Kore opened 2 years ago. Thanks to a steady supply of electricity, this carpenter can be more productive. 15 small businesses have already set up shop in Iguri GBA, including a community radio station. And for the first time, people here can get ice, which can be used to keep food fresh longer. Lidi Ongoiba is in charge of keeping the solar plant operating smoothly. It replaced the dirty and noisy generators previously used to generate electricity. The system produces around 40,000 kilowatt hours a year on average. That's enough to keep more than 400 standard refrigerators operating for an entire year.
The energy generated by the solar panels is more than sufficient. And if there is overproduction, I think it will balance out eventually, because not all the businesses have been established yet.
All of the structures here are bioclimatic and were built of clay and natural stones, using the age-old Nubian vault technique. This keeps the buildings cool on hot days and warm at night. 150 kilometers north of Kure, in Diaramana, Geres is busy setting up another GBA. The solar panels aren't yet installed, but soon, Somaila Fane will be making school furniture here.
I've been eager to use other machines like a lathe and a planer, but I haven't had enough electricity. You can't run those machines with the kind of generator I have.
Here to oversee the project is GBA Program Manager Gregoire Gailey. There are already 4 sites up and running in Mali. The French NGO has plans to develop several more sites in the country within the next few years.
Central to the idea is to engage people on location, to involve members of the local community in the process of setting up the infrastructure. That's very important. It's also our objective to support sustainable development with the aim of securing access to clean energy to everyone in the area by 2030.
We're back in Kore at Kasim Ngongo's tailor shop. Magniene Sangare is here every day improving her skills. The chance to learn a trade has given her a job perspective.
After I complete the training, I want to set up my own workshop. My husband is a teacher, so if we move, I could also do this somewhere else.
Solar power has enabled people like Kasim Ngongo to set up shop near home. Eliminating the need to move to cities for work could help curb the rural exodus.
We met a lot of impressive women in the show today who've come up with some ambitious and ingenious ways of improving environmental protection. We hope you feel as inspired as we do. Join us again next week. Goodbye from Lagos, Nigeria.
And bye from me too here in Kampala, Uganda. Thank you all for watching. If you want to find out more about environmental issues, do check out our social media channels and send us your feedback. See you next time.